Hello there, there's Ralph again. Today I was going to go over the First Amendment. As most of you already know it, that's that one that talks about separation of church and state, which is not in the Constitution at all. Anyway, the First Amendment, Congress shall make no laws representing the establishment of a religion, or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech, or of the press, or the right of the people to peacefully assemble, and to petition the government for redress of grievance. Okay, let's take this here from the back and go to the front of it. Grievances. You can grieve your government. You don't have a problem, there's ways you can grieve your government. Over the years, they've put a lot of hoops and stuff in your way that you have to jump through to do it, but it can be done. To peacefully assemble. That's what they're doing up on Wall Street. They're assembling. Okay, one thing we have to remember, in 1868, it was after the Civil War, up to then, the Supreme Court, the Bill of Rights was a federal thing. The Supreme Court said they stand on the federal side of it. The states makes up their own constitution. I don't know if you've seen the federal constitution. It's a little bitty thin thing. Here in Missouri, our constitution looks like this, and it's somewhat thicker. But anyway, so basically what they've done was the federal government said, okay, you have the First Amendment, then your state government, they've done kind of a workaround. Because like your freedom of speech, you can't yell fire in a busy restaurant or a theater. Your assemblies, you can't be peacefully assembling in the middle of the street during rush hour. The states and the counties and stuff, they don't take away your First Amendment, but they changed it and put rules and regulations on you to where you can have your assembly, you can protest, but they'll tell you when, where, how, and this sort of stuff, because it's not just the people protesting. You have to protect their rights, at the same time protect the rights of all the people around them. There might be a whole lot of people wanting to go someplace. They can't be standing in the middle of the highway holding up a sign. So, he's not taking away the rights, he's just making it more even and better for everybody. Okay. The press. The government can't run the press. They can't tell Obama can't come in and say, you can't write nothing. Well, that's not a very good example because the press don't ever write nothing bad about Obama anyway. But anyway, that's part of it. The freedom of speech. You can say what you want. If you talk bad about somebody, they can't put you in jail. If they're not, most government officials or public officials, it's very hard to hit them for slander. Other people, civilians, you can do that. It's freedom of speech. Okay. Congress shall make no laws representing the establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof. Okay, what does that mean? Well, they say, well, federal government can't get in the way of religion. No. They can't support one church over another or one religion over another. They can't make their own religion and say you're all going to be Muslims or you're all going to be Christians or you're all going to be Latter-day Saints. They can't do that. At the same time, the church can't say, well, I'm taking Hickory County and turning that into the First Church of Ralph, and that's going to be our own little country, and government can't have nothing to do with it. They can't do that. Okay, we have a separation of church and state. Where did that come from? That came from, I believe it was the Baptists that was concerned about the government getting in their business. Thomas Jefferson wrote them a letter and said, hey, we're not all about that. We're not going to get in your business. There's going to be a wall, separation of church and state. Church got their business, state's got their business, we won't interfere. Somehow, that's boiled down and got over into the Constitution and all these court cases and stuff about you can't have this, you can't have that, and can't have this. The biggest thing you hear is, well, our founding fathers weren't Christians. A lot of our founding fathers was in religions they didn't, at that time, really didn't, a lot of the religions didn't call themselves Christians, but they were, there was only one founding father that I know of that was an atheist, and he was an atheist about half of his life. He'd go from being God-fearing to atheist, God-fearing to atheist. Before he died, he accepted Jesus Christ, and he passed away, and I reckon he's up in heaven or somewhere right now. Okay, this, how come I think they're wrong about having God in school? Let's look back at our founding fathers. And let's go way back to the start, one of them. In 1636, Harvard College was founded by John Harvard. He was a Presbyterian minister, and the school was to train clergy for the Christian faith, or in the Christian faith. That was your Harvard. You know, Harvard, where Obama went. Yeah, that's the one. Okay, jump ahead a few years ahead. Let's go up here to where the Constitution, 1776, was, independence and all that. That wasn't when the Constitution was put in place. That happened years later. Okay, in 1887, Congress passed the Northwest Ordinance, which is the outline requirements of new territories wanting to qualify for statehood. In Article 3 of that, it stated, Article 3 of the North Ordinance directs that the people of the territories to establish schools to teach religion, morality, and knowledge. Nearly every state admitted to the Union after that, in their Constitution, it was written something in there about teaching morality and religion and knowledge and using the Bible and that's as the keystone of the religious teaching. In 1896, the President's farewell address, he encouraged America to learn biblical teachings and to sustain a moral and just country. In 1808, I think that's about the time Jefferson, if I am mistaken, that's when he wrote the letter to the Baptists. But anyway, in 1808, they took Washington's farewell address and made a book out of it. They put this book in all the schools, and it was taught. It was a textbook up until the 1960s. In 1802, Thomas Jefferson, acting as the president of Washington, D.C. schools, required a Bible to be in all the classrooms. Okay? In 1844, to teach morals, the Supreme Court ruled that American schools were to teach Christianity using the Bibles. Okay? This was fought and won by Daniel Webster. You know, the guy with the big book with all the words in it. Okay? So, to me, in 1844, the Supreme Court said, you will teach Christianity using the Bible in American schools. In 1890, the Supreme Court ruled that we are a religious people and this is a Christian nation. Okay? And people will teach the children the Christian faith. This is part of the Trinity case, big case back then. Okay? The Pledge of Allegiance came into play in 1892, and also in 1892, the American Teachers Union declared the schools will continue to teach morals from the Bible as schools are turned over to the various states from the Christian schools. Prior to this, many schools have been run by churches of varied denominations. Many state constitutions at that time mandated the teachings of moral, religion, and knowledge. Just a footnote, excuse me, of the 108 colleges and universities founded in America, 106 were founded as Christian schools. Of the first 126 colleges, 123 of them were Christian. Okay, 1925. This is when the old boys sued Tennessee because the governor signed that we could not have evolution in the schools. The ACLU got involved. You know who the ACLU is? They're poking their nose into all kinds of stuff. They're a bunch of lawyers get together. They're the ones that representing Mamba or Bamba or whatever, you know, the old guys wanting to molest young boys, people. Anyway, that's who ACLU. Okay, they had a famous Scopes trial, Scopes monkey trial, and that's when they first said you could start teaching evolution to school. At that time, up till then, you didn't teach it. They taught Christianity. Okay, in 48, the course rule was time set aside by a prayer was unconstitutional. That means the school, you couldn't go to class, go to recess, have 15 minutes for prayer. If they was going to do prayer, you had to do it in school time. You couldn't set it aside. Okay. In 62, the Supreme Court said children can't recite a prayer written in school. Okay, in 63, they banned individual school prayers and Bible reading in public schools. The school prayer that brought the case to court was, I think it was up in New York, seems like. But anyway, what the prayer was, they said that, first day of school, they'd recite, the Pledge of Allegiance, and then they'd say this prayer. Almighty God, we acknowledge our dependence upon Thee, and we beg Thee blessings upon our parents, our teachers, and our country. Amen. Okay, that was the little prayer that they banned. Said you can't do that. Schools can't be writing prayers or making kids recite them. That's, So, then a lot of things, if you look at it, when we first started out as a country, Christianity was taught. It was, everybody says Christianity is, it's not something that we're founded on. Our founding fathers, if you go back and read their letters and stuff, they was big promoters of it. They taught you morals, I don't know if any of you guys read the Bible. The Bible has any story you want into it. It has love stories. It has stories of war, stories of betrayal. It just has all kinds of good stuff. But anyway, in 2008, they did a little survey, and Christian schools and homeschooling, the kids that went through them got higher academic test results than their kids in our public schools. If you look at our public schools nowadays, they cost more than anybody else in the world. I just don't understand school. If you guys see my video on schools, I'll explain to you what I think they ought to do. But anyway, that's the First Amendment. That's when they say that separation of church or state comes from the Constitution, or religion or nativity scenes and stuff is in the Constitution because our founding fathers wanted it that way. Bullshit. The Supreme Court over the years has gone to the left. They're the ones that keep overturning this stuff. In the 60s, it really started pushing. We had civil rights movements and the early part of the hippies and everybody do your own thing and whatever. But anyway, that's just a little brief thing on the First Amendment, and I'll talk at you later. Peace out.